Next item up, we begin our briefings on the comprehensive plan update. This is the start of a process, and I'm glad we're all here to be here to hear these briefings. There are a lot of information in the packets, and I thought I saw some pretty darn good writing on the part of staff on this work. And our first item up under new business, item 2, Sarah Titcomb, and Sarah will be talking about introduction and vision to the comprehensive plan. Sarah, go ahead.
So before we get to Sarah, I'm going to just do a little quick kickoff presentation here to kind of set up this briefing series and the update, and then we'll hand it over to Sarah. So I'm going to share my screen here. Give me just a moment here to do that. So hopefully you should all be able to see do you see everybody see my screen? Okay, perfect. All right, so we're here tonight. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first of several months of briefings on the 2024 update. So I wanted to give a little bit of a kind of a high level overview of the purpose of the briefings, and then I'll walk through a little bit of the update schedule and whatnot. So our intent with these briefings is to provide an overview of the proposed comprehensive plan amendments. So you're going to see, and there'll be materials that will come in your packet, staff reports outlining goals and policy and objective amendments, as well as amendments to the narrative of the individual elements. We're also going to be summarizing the public comments that we've received to date. Our public outreach process continues on, but we have done a fair bit of outreach to date, and you'll hear a bit about that as each amendment comes forward. This is an opportunity for you, the commission, to ask questions and provide any feedback on the materials. So we've tried to structure these in a way to maximize the time and give you adequate opportunities to ask clarifying questions. Feel free. We're not in a hurry. We have a lot of material to cover over the next few months, but we do want to make sure you get a chance to ask questions in these meetings. But if you have questions that we aren't able to answer in the meeting, we will be providing those in written form at a follow. We'll follow up in written form and email to you. You will have received a detailed staff report for the briefings that you'll get tonight. For future elements coming forward, there'll be staff reports that will go out and will be linked to the agendas. So these meetings are being recorded, and so there's an opportunity for the public to listen in and hear and better understand the range or what amendments are being considered. But as these are briefings, we are not taking public comments or questions during the briefing. If members of the public do have a comment or question, they can submit them to the project email address at 2024update at snoco.org, and staff will follow up. So we just want to make it clear going forward that in these briefings, this is your briefing. It's an opportunity for you, members of the public, can follow up with staff if they have some thoughts on what they've heard. Just as a reminder, we're required under the Growth Management Act to do this, what we call the periodic update. We plan for the next 20 years of population and employment growth forecast. You'll hear a little bit about that population employment growth coming up from Steve Toy. We also need to take a look at our comprehensive plan and development regulations to determine, since the last update in 2015, what changes in state law we need to incorporate. We refer to that as our compliance review. And our overall deadline to complete the project is December 31st, 2024. So just a few kind of high-level things with regards to project milestones here. So we have been busy for a while putting together draft amendments and completing the environmental analysis, or SEPA review, and that will continue through the month of August. We have created 6 phases and opportunities over a 30-day period for the public to provide comments on the policy amendments. That started back in November, and the final 30-day comment period will be coming up this May. And we've been kind of staggering the elements both for resource issues, as well as just not throwing it all out at the public at once. You can see there on the third line, the Planning Commission briefings. We'll be issuing our draft environmental impact statement on September 1st for a 45-day comment period. You can see when your hearings will be and the deliberations. Once your deliberations have concluded, we will be preparing adopting ordinances, and those will be presented to the county council early next year, and they will begin a process which includes briefings as well as hearings and deliberations. Our target date to complete the update is September of 2024, ahead of the council's budget process, but there's a lot of factors that may affect whether we do or aren't able to complete it by that time, including what your recommendation is, whether we need additional environmental analysis or not. So things get kind of subject to change as we get a little further out and get into 2024. Just by way of kind of what your schedule for the element briefings will be, you can see here in March what we'll cover tonight. Mentioned already that in April we'll cover land use. You can see then for each of the coming months in May, June, July, and August, we'll be ticking off various elements over time. Some of these have a lot of moving parts. Some of them have a few moving parts. Some of them have a lot of potential changes, like housing element coming up in July. Some maybe not as much. Then we're hosting a special meeting in September that I mentioned to go over the draft EIS and the future land use map and zoning changes. And then we'll have a recap, kind of a wrap-up briefing at your regular meeting in September. So that's the project website. That's the project email update. This was just an opportunity to kind of set the stage for what's coming over the next few months. And with that, if there aren't any questions, I will stop sharing and can turn things over to Sarah Titcomb.
Thank you, David. Any questions for David from the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, we can turn to Sarah Titcomb, our update to introduction and vision of the comprehensive plan.